Hi everybody, today I want to record some behind the scenes for Cyberpunk 3776 and show off a little bit of my workflow about drawing enemies. Here on this page you below see the default enemy that's appearing a lot in all the stages, so trying to make the multiverse. Yeah, some variation there, so they don't look always the same, even if the enemies will be very small at the end. I tried to add some detail. Started with rough sketches. Here I can show that. So I roughly started with something like that. Just raw sketches. The shapes of the enemy ships could be. I really should go for this Bob Ross kind of voice, huh? So calming, and put a little bit detail here and just try. That's just not too much. No, I'm not good at that. Like I mentioned before, it's my first indie project. I will finish. Yes, I will. I will survive. It's hard. Sometimes it's really hard to keep the motivation up, since it's like a momentum, and you have to keep this momentum and to motivate you to every day from new, even if you got some crappy contract work to do that you don't like, and then back to your game work, and it's hard to do that sometimes. It's sometimes you just want to give up. It would be so much easier to just give up and make another prototype of another game, and you can all get to know me better as a game designer, and maybe you're interested in playing my games. I hope so. I hope so, because I have a lot of fun of making them. And so now that I got the basic shape and the values for the ship, for the enemy type, I might change a little bit the tone and contrast here. So the white parts here were popping out a little bit too much, the highlights. So I try to bring them down a little and make it more similar in contrast. Now we're going to add some texture, and I often collect some textures from photographs, so I got my libraries where I'm working with, and to begin with I just pick the texture, copy them and throw them in. It's not directly, or if it's metal or stone or whatever. If I multiply that in there, I get more detail. Make it a little smaller to have more detail in place. I don't worry about the color yet. It's just to add more structure, more texture to the thing, make it more contrasty. So after that I have to adjust it a little. This step is just for adding more contrast, and that's why I will make it all almost black and white. So I just add the contrast there to get my shadows back and everything. Now I think we are ready to add some details about the lightning. I add another layer. In the texture also you already see scratches and stuff like that, and I want them to pop out a little bit more. I do that by adding some light spots and see how it fits. It's acceptable to overdo it a little, and then you can just adjust the transparency of the layer later on, blur it or do something with that, adding a little bit more contrast here. And I think we might add some coloring now. Before that I normally use a dynamic to push it up a little. I don't want to get it oversaturated, but give it a little bit more variance in the color. Now we got a layer with just adds color to it. I want to separate a little bit the different mechanical parts of the ship, so the structure gets more noticeable. At first it's just plain color. It looks pretty surreal at first, but this way it's easier to spot it where you're painting. I'm not sure how I will cut the audio file together for this time lapse, but I think it might interest some people to actually see how things are done for the game. They are not just there, so someone has to make them actually. So after painting all an enemy, normally what I do I have to is cut them into pieces so they can actually break and explode in the game. Depends a little bit on the size and of the enemy type and how often they appear. If I spend a lot of time with that or just a little. I like to separate my effects from the other things, so I just add a plain layer of color and make the visibility like 0, and then add effects like drop shadows and stuff like that on this layer, so I got it separate from the original underneath, layers underneath with some drop shadow. Even if it's just a slight one, it gets more connection to with the background. So that's it for now. Below the video you'll find the link to the demo of the game, so you can try it out and yeah, have fun with it. Let me know what if you like it. Bye bye.